Assalamu alaikum students. In our previous video, we learned about the basic introduction of different civilizations, in which I added four main civilizations, which are Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization, Indus Valley civilization, and Chinese civilization. Now, as our main topic is Mesopotamian civilization, we will study about this only today. So the first point we are going to learn about is the basic information and the location of this civilization. As we know, it emerged in the wide and the fertile lands between the two rivers which are known as Euphrates and Tigris. As you can see in the map on the right side of your screen, it is the river Tigris, and similarly on the left of your screen is the river Euphrates. These are the two main rivers and the lands around it were fertile. That's why Mesopotamian civilization emerged here. As I already mentioned, that people live near the rivers for the fertility of soil and the availability of water. So hence it emerged in the fertile lands of Euphrates and Tigris. Mesopotamia itself is a Greek word which means the land between the two rivers. That's why it's named as Mesopotamia. So in Mesopotamia it is actually divided into three main parts. One is southern part, one is northern part, and one is extreme north, uplands of north. The southern part of it is called Sumer, as you can see in the picture, Sumer, and the northern part is Babylonia, and similarly the extreme north is Assyria. Hence the southern part Sumer, northern part Akkad and Babylon. Similarly the extreme north is Assyria. The earliest people who came here, the first civilization which came here were Sumer. So Sumerians are also called the founders of Mesopotamian civilization, and they prospered here for 1500 years. In your previous video, I told you about that Mesopotamian civilization emerged in 3500 BC. That means they prospered here for 1500 years. That means till 2000 BCE. Later on, they were attacked and conquered by the Babylonians and then by Assyrians. Hence, this civilization became the combination of three main civilizations, which are Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. That was the basic introduction and the location of Mesopotamian civilization. Now, one of the greatest city of Sumer was Ur. It was a Sumerian city which was discovered by Sir Leonard Woolley in 1922. He was one of the greatest archaeologists of Britain. He was one of the greatest archaeologists of Britain, Sir Leonard Woolley, who discovered Ur city of Samaria. In this picture you can see this is Sir Leonard Woolley who discovered Ur city. He is working on the location of one of the sites of Ur city. Yes, now let's talk about the main features of this. Actually, based on his discovery and based on the discovery of Sir Leonard Woolley, he discovered the city of Ur, and on his discovery we can conclude certain main features of this civilization. I have mentioned here about around 10 features of this civilization, which are town planning, architecture, social structure, family life, occupation, trade and commerce, religion and culture, writing and literature, science and mathematics, technology and inventions. So in this video we are going to discuss two main features, town planning and architecture, and rest of the features will be divided in further videos. First, the town planning. Basically, during Mesopotamian civilization, town was divided into three main parts. The first one, the innermost part was called sacred area. In this sacred area there were many small temples, and one big temple which was known as ziggurat, which I have written here. So this was in the center of the city. Surrounded by it, around it was the walled city, the city which was inside the walls. It includes, in this area there were offices, stores, and the people who were the nobles and the king and the official people who work in the offices live in the walled city. Similarly, the outermost part was called outer town. It was it was the residential area where the people of Mesopotamian civilization were living. Streets were lined with the houses. All the streets were lined with the houses on each side. On the other side, opposite sides, there were houses on the streets. Each house facing away from the street. Each house was having its door on the opposite side of the street. And houses were like they were having central courtyards and surrounded by rooms on all sides. The central courtyard was in the center and rooms were surrounded by it. The second feature is the architecture. During this time in Mesopotamian civilization, there was lots of availability of mud and clay. That's why they used to make the houses with mud and clay. They used the sun-baked bricks for making houses. Those bricks which has been dried up by using the heat of the sun. Similarly, for temples, they used fire-baked bricks. For making temples and embellished them with jewels and all. They also built multi-storied temples. Temples were made as the multi-storied, like we see buildings in the today's times as first floor and second floor, and they used to make the temples like this only. That is all we have. Yes, I forgot to mention. You must be thinking, what is ziggurat? I had taken a picture of ziggurat. This is the ziggurat. It was always in the center of Mesopotamian civilization. You see, this is ziggurat. So we have learnt about, in this unit, in this subtopic, we learnt about three things. One was the basic information and the location. Mesopotamia is actually a Greek word which means land between the two rivers, and it was divided into three parts: Sumer, Babylon, and Assyria. So, the first people who came here were the Sumerians, who prospered here for 1500 years till to 2000 BC. After that, they were conquered by the Babylon and then Assyrians. Thus became the combination of three different civilizations. Ur was the first city to be discovered by one of the greatest archaeologists of British, known as Sir Leonard Woolley, in 1922. Once he discovered this, based on his discoveries, we came to know about certain things and learnt about certain features of this civilization, which I have mentioned here. And today we studied about two main features. One was town planning and architecture. Town planning. In this town planning, town is divided into three parts: sacred area, walled city, and the outer town. Sacred area was the innermost part, which includes only temples and one of the major temple, ziggurats. Walled city includes offices and stores. Similarly, the residential area, the outer town includes residential area. Streets were lined with the houses, and houses were facing their doors on the opposite side of the street. They were having the central courtyards and the rooms surrounded it. In addition, we learned about the architecture. They used the mud and clay. They used the sun-baked bricks for making houses, and for temples they used the fire-baked bricks. They also built the multi-storied temple. For tomorrow, you will have the homework: describe the location of Mesopotamian civilization, and also write about three main civilizations, which are Sumerian, Babylonians, and Assyrian. And the next question you will write in your notebook is gonna be, what is the contribution of Mesopotamian civilization in the field of art and architecture?